Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Thank you for joining me for my pre market analysis and my strategy session. Why do I call it that? Because on Friday was the third consecutive day I gave out one of my plays. And again, it was profitable. So we're going to talk about plays for today. We're going to talk about the SPY, dark pool levels, and what to expect in the market. Understand, you're going to hurt yourself if you're going against a supply zone or against a demand zone. If you don't understand what that means, I'll speak to that when I bring up the dark pool levels of the SPY, and we could talk about that. What did I mention pre-market on Friday? I was looking at AMD puts. I saw some bearish sentiment. Market open, AMD puts within 12 minutes out secured profit. Then I actually went counter to a bearish play. I went into some lift calls. Again, lift calls, played it twice on Friday, over 100% both times. The $11 call, I'm in at $16, out at $32, in at $15, went as low as 11, out at 32 again. So those are a way to make money. Next, I mentioned when the SPY was sitting at 404.50 on Friday that I expected us to run towards the end of the day, possibly hit the high of 407.23, which it hit and beat. We didn't necessarily hit 408, but that's how you play intraday. Again, what I could suggest is waiting for the best entry. If you're only going to trade one time today, you need to sit, be patient. And you could tell me, Matt, I'm a day trader. I sit in front of my computer. I see a ton of good entries. I'll call bullshit on that one. I'll say, hey, you want to be a more effective trader? Wait for that one trade. Wait for two trades. Wait for the absolute bottom or the absolute top where you confirm either rejection or support. And that's when you enter a trade. If you're just jumping in a trade, then you're investing the wrong way. Then you're trading the wrong way. You're here to improve your financial future. Same as me. And there used to be weeks where I traded 260 times in a week. What a losing trader that was. I might have made 3% of my portfolio. When I'll trade 6 to 8 times in a week, I'm much more profitable. Okay, so let's get into it. I was in lift calls twice, AMD puts. What do we have going on this week? Important dates, and I'll go out a little bit in case you have a pen and paper. For this week, you have GDP, which is what? On the 23rd, today's the 21st, so I guess that would be Thursday. PCE, price index, that's coming out on the 24th, which will be Friday. And then we don't see anything until next month. We have jobs reports March 10th, CPI March 14th, PPI March 15th. So again, from the end of this month, from the 24th, which is Friday of this week, all the way until about the 14th, which is the second week in March, there's not going to be any real news. Yes, we still have earnings, but what you're going to see is whatever the trend line is at the end of this week, and you'll see it either dropping, and if it drops, will continue to drop for 2 consecutive weeks. Nothing goes down all at once, so there will be some choppiness, but this is the way I get my strategy and without trading with emotion. Or if we see a rebound or a push higher towards the end of the week, that tells me the markets could push higher for another 2 weeks until we have CPI and PPI March 14th and 15th. So again, you want to follow the trend. You don't want to play on emotion saying this is what should happen in the market. And when it goes counter to what your position or your thought process is, you keep increasing your position. That is the wrong way to trade. You want to follow the market. You want to see momentum. You want to wait for support or see resistance and trade accordingly. So now that I'm mentioning support and resistance, I did my homework over the weekend. Hopefully you did. But if you didn't, I'm going to share some of the largest cap plays with you and what I'm seeing. So Apple, it's right at the support line break. If it does break lower, you're going to see a bear flag. So the key number on Apple is going to be $150 flat. If you look at it pre-market even, it bounced off 150, I think 14. It's a little higher right now. Amazon's got a wedge break. Again, it's got a bear flag pattern. Google, it's weak, but there's no clear confirmation whether it's going higher or lower. The SPY had a breakdown. So let's just get right into it. Talk about the SPY. I took this from somebody right before the close. There were a ton of Russell puts, 2.3 million expiring April 21st, March 1st. So again, they're going out at least a month, another 2.2 on the Russell. April 21st again, 1.8 million. SPY puts, strike price 386. Yes, we're sitting at, we closed at what, 407. We're probably sitting at 404 pre-market. And again, Apple puts 155 strike price. They went out only to the 24th. So I guess they went out to the end of this week, which gives them 4 days. Again, they purchased in the money. We still have a ton of earnings this week. I'm just going to check out some stocks that have earnings. We've got Coinbase Tuesday after close. Coinbase tends to lose $1 billion a quarter. You've got Caesars Tuesday after close. Nordstrom's today after close. Ton of earnings. TJX Wednesday before open. Wix, which will probably get beat up Wednesday before open. Sunrun Wednesday after close, probably get beat up. Teladoc, which I don't think will have any real earnings, especially with doctors' offices being open. So I'd watch Teladoc to the downside. We know Kathy's been a big fan there. Etsy, Lucid, NVIDIA, all Wednesday the 22nd after close. We've got Block on Thursday, Moderna Thursday pre-market, Domino's pre-market Thursday, Wish after close on Thursday, and Carvana. So if I'm looking for some type of short squeeze, here's a trading strategy. Again, options will expire Friday. I'm going to look at Carvana. I'm going to look at Wish. Beyond Meat's been pretty beaten up. Yeti has earnings Thursday. So there are a lot of interesting plays we can make this week. Let's talk about Fed chairman. And yes, I'm going to talk about the SPY and tell you where I see market direction today, where rejection could be, where support could be. But let's talk about Fed first. Fed speakers Wednesday, right? Tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. So after the market, nothing today, nothing tomorrow. After the market tomorrow, Williams at 5:30 p.m. Then you've got Thursday morning, Bostic. You've got Friday morning, 10:15, Metzger. And let's remember, they were the ones talking about 50 basis point potential increase. Now understand what the Fed said is, or what Wall Street was expecting is 25 basis points, 25 basis points, 25 basis points, 3 times this year. And by the time we get to the fourth quarter or end of the year, they were looking for a rate cut. Now, the people on Wall Street, based on the Fed swaps rate, are saying, okay, potential went from 1% to 17% of a 50 basis point hike, right? And now they're talking about cuts maybe not even happening towards the end of the year, but maybe the first quarter of next year. So that's all of a sudden backing everything up in the market another 2, 3, 4 months. So what is that telling me? It's telling me there is more downside in the market, and we're going to get to the SPY numbers in a minute. Just more earnings again: Coin, NVIDIA, Square, Alibaba, Baidu. So those are 2 Chinese companies, Alibaba and Baidu, I'm paying specific attention to because China is putting more assets and more wealth into their market. They're supporting their market as they're deepens with stimulus and they're relaxing pandemic restrictions. Yeah, that's nothing new. Goldman Sachs mentioned that last week towards the end. Yeah, so let's get right into the SPY. Why not, right? Okay, so on Friday, what did we see the SPY do? Remember, we saw the SPY shoot up, and then it dropped to right about 404. I can't pull up the SPY chart because I have Discord linked, and I'm going to show you the dark pool levels of the SPY in a minute, and then we can talk about that. But at 404, right, I mentioned we would see support at 404.50. So the SPY was trading in between 404 and 405. I mentioned we would probably go up to 407, hit the high for the day. So that was a trade on Friday. Again, just wait. You shouldn't be overly anxious, especially for my West Coast traders out there that wake up very early morning to trade. I wouldn't be waking up until 11 a.m. Eastern time or 8 a.m. West Coast time. You want to analyze the market. You're not too late. Most of my great trading happens between 11:50 a.m. and like 2:50 p.m. In fact, I have a little paper hands and scissor hands. If I held a little longer, would be making a lot more money. Remember, Thursday, SPY puts, $412 SPY puts. SPY went down to what? 405, making those puts $700 per contract. Remember, my entry, $154 per contract. What does that imply? It implies a profit of what? 350%. So please, trading the SPY, make sure you always give yourself enough time to be correct. Okay, so let's just add the dark pool level. Let's talk about what we're expecting today. Let me blow it up nice and big. Okay, so we'll start at the top. You can see these levels: 8 billion, 9 billion, 9 billion. Oh, here are some good levels: 25, 18, 10, 21. So here's the real meat of it right here. Understanding in a bull case scenario, which isn't happening right now. But if we ever got, and I'll explain why this is important, because when it comes to the downside, we're going to see the same thing. To the upside, at 412, all the way to 418, very little supply and demand. The same capacity, even less You're looking at 404.61, only has $6 billion worth of SPY, 402, 3 billion, 401, 6 billion. What does it tell you? This is very small, very light. So if we cross the 404.61 to the downside, where could the next support be? Well, you're not seeing it on here, but there's a major block of support of demand right around 399. So if I were going to give my best guess estimate, what we're going to see today, even if we're going to see a choppy market, which is what I expect going forward, I expect choppiness. Why? Because you have companies like Meta that are probably green pre-market. I haven't looked at Meta, but they came out and they said they're going to copy what Twitter's doing, and they're going to make you verify yourself, and they'll give you extra shit and stuff like that. It's bullshit. Mark Zuckerberg, get creative with your own shit. But anyway, okay, so 404.61 right here, nothing really till 399, so it's a ghost zone. So I'm anticipating some huge spikes down, some huge pops back up today. But again, the levels I'm looking at, okay, as we sit pre-market, let's just see where the SPY is. Basically $404 flat, 403.95. What am I seeing going to happen? Oh, it's likely, understand, on Friday, they were buying up the market. They were buying the dips. So again, only 4 or 5 days in the entire year have they not bought up these dips. So even though I am a bear and I say the market's going lower, I'm going to tell you my ranges that I expect to see in the SPY today. Okay, on the high side, I definitely think we're getting back to this 406.44 level. And if we break it and somehow today turns out to be extremely green, I think we're going to see 410 and this market will reject 410. So again, bull case scenario is if you want to be extremely bullish, we're going to break that 406.40 level and you're going to see 410 before the SPY rejects. That's a bull case scenario. That's not my belief today because I am still a bear and I am still bearish on the market. But understand, I trade without emotion and I have 2 or 3 scenarios set up and I see which one happens and comes to fruition, and that's how I invest. Again, no need to rush into it today. I probably won't make my first trade until at least 11, 11:20, maybe 11:30 this morning, and then I'll trade it. Hopefully, I'll be in and out 11:30, out at like 2:20, 2:30 p.m., secure profit, call myself a winner, and move on to the next trade. But here we go. All right, bull case scenario. Extremely bullish. High side, you see 410. We pop up to 406. We're right back at the 407.26, which is where we closed at on Friday, okay? Understand, we're sitting at 404 this morning, but we closed at 407.26. I don't really pay that much attention to pre-market and after hours bullshit. I wait for the volume to come in. The volume will tell you the market direction. So again, if we see the market getting bought at an open, you're going to look for the next level higher, 406.44. What does that mean? It means if we reject 406.44 and you're in calls and you see us rejecting, meaning we're going back down to 401, 402, you want to get out of all your calls. Or if you're on the sidelines and you see us reject, you want to get into puts. Now, I wait for something called a double top or a double rejection. If we go up to 406.44 and reject it once, trickle down, go back up to 406.44, trickle down, that tells me double rejection. If we go up to 46.44, trickle down, and then we go higher to 407, that tells me shit. The next rejection level is actually 408, and if we pass that, 410. So I'm going to wait before I trade. All right, so that's your bull case scenario. Your bear case scenario is we're going to pop it open and then go down. So we're going to pop it open. Again, we're going to hit 406 probably on the SPY. Let's just see where it is again, pre-market, 403.60 now. Okay, so it's gone down a little. So again, there's going to be a pop it open, meaning we'll gain back 0.5%. So maybe we'll go from 404 to, about 406. And if it's 403, then you might see 405.50. But we're going to pop it open. They're going to be buying the dip, and then we're going to sell off. And then you're going to see what we call a double dip, meaning it'll dip lower. So at like 10:15, when it looks like it's about to do a U or a V-shaped rebound and bounce higher, you're going to see a double dip, meaning a second sell-off. And again, it'll likely fade. I expect that's what we're going to see today, a little bounce within the first 5 to 7 minutes of market open. And then we're just going to fade a little. About 10:15, you're going to see a bit of a reversal. Again, this is what I do. I'm good with patterns, so I plan out what I expect to see. Why? Because if I miss the puts on the first way down, because I said I'm not going to trade until later, I'm going to look for the first reversal. And when I see that, if it's on light volume, then I tell myself, double dip and we'll go down a little more. So again, On the downside, where would we likely see support? I mentioned extreme bull case scenario, 410, 408, 406.40, support level, support level, support level. Bear case scenario is very light volume and supply in the dark pool at 404. Under that, 402. Under that, we're going to hit that $401 level. Still, small supply demand. Where's the next level down? $399 and change. So again, if I'm expecting us to bounce, I'm going to look for a quick bounce right at the $399 level. And if we see that, where can we push back to? Let's say I get it at $399.80 and that's the low of the day. I think we could push back to like 403, a whole 3 points. So I do see some choppiness on the SPY. I'm going to look for a 3-point play, meaning if I get in the bull case and I find support at, let's say, $399, I would exit out at 403. Let's go with the bear case scenario, okay? Bear case scenario is I see rejection right at 406, let's say 406.50, something to that level. Okay, we bounce higher, we reject 406.50, reject 406.50. Guess what? I would get into puts at 406.50, and I would look for 3 or even maybe 4 points on the way down back to a 402 level. So if I can get in puts at 406, I will get out at 402. If I get into calls at 399 and change, I'm going to get out at 403.80. So maybe like 3 or 4 points. So I'm looking for 3 or 4 points on either level. Let's get to some questions today. Let me see. Hey, if you guys are here, please give a thumbs up. Yeah, everything YouTube does is algorithm. So if you like the shit that I'm saying each and every morning, and I'll try and condense it. We're only 16 minutes in now. If you missed anything, please go back. I know I usually go 30 minutes. No reason to. I'm trying to give you everything in a nutshell. What am I paying attention to? Earnings this week. Coin, NVIDIA. All right, so let's see if we have any questions. Hey, have I heard about the infamous 50-cent trade? Yeah, I mean, I've heard about this trade. It's been going on for a little bit since last week. I mean, they kept buying these VIX call options at 50 cents. They spent millions of dollars. Could be a hedge. Could be a hedge versus $1 billion position. I've heard people talk about Carl Icahn and his $5 billion position to short the market. SPY puts at 405 strike. Let's remember, he bought those at 411. That same day, the SPY went down to 405. Everybody's talking about Icahn. He easily could have exited and secured profit. Went from 411 to 405 in one day. It was back up at 409, 410 the next 2 days. So if he was a smart person, he would have levered or he would have shifted out of his position, at least halved it at some point. Okay, Graham, let's see what we got here, man. You have $400 puts for this upcoming Friday that you bought at the end of the last day. Hold them, do I think? I never hold. It's extremely tough for me to hold a position throughout the week because there's so much choppiness, meaning we could see the SPY drop to $399 and then rebound all the way to 405. If you've got $400 puts and the SPY does drop to 400 from the 407 level where we closed at on Friday, shit, I want to get out and take profit. If you're in at $30, $40, $50 and you can get $1.80, $1.90, you can make 320%. I'm going to take that. Why? Because we easily could see the market being bought up on dips and we can see it go right back to 406. And your $400 puts, which expire Friday, are losing time and losing value. So again, I would get in and out and I would trade the same position. If you get a dip, you're selling, taking profit. If you get a spike, you're going to re-enter because your strategy hasn't changed. You bought them out till Friday for a reason. Okay, Ken. Hey, man, you're thinking 400 for the SPY will hold and end up breaking below 400 probably next week. Yeah, I mean, that's what Wall Street's saying. And that's what people out there, analysts are saying. You know, I'm always early. When I came on maybe a week and a half ago and I said, yeah, we're either going to 420 or we're going to drop to the 388 level, I still believe that. So if I'm actually going to look for support in this market and say we're going to drop down over the next 1, 2, 3 weeks, I'm saying we're going to touch 388. So yeah, I mean, my strategy hasn't changed. Again, every spike in the market, I'm buying puts. Every drop, I'm selling and taking profit, which is why, Graham, that's exactly what I told you to do, because that's my own strategy. So for me to hold, and yes, I could have been more successful. Those AMD puts at 85, when I said AMD was going down to 78, I sold them at 83. So I made $3. Then I re-entered at 81 and took it down to 78. Another $3. If you take it from 86 down to 78, that's $8. So yeah, I only got 75% of my trade. Let's just see. Hit that like. Yeah, that would be good. You'd love to see the SPY drop. Okay. BA. So what are we looking at? Boeing. We can look at Boeing. Yeah, Zuckerberg is a clown. I mean, I used to be one of the hugest Meta fans, even though I had never used Facebook in my life. But Zuckerberg is a freaking genius. All right, so let's just take a look at Boeing. Understanding tech stocks have been doing better than Dow stocks. Let's look at Boeing, even having inflow, light volume. I mean, if I was going to be bullish of something and say the market was choppy, I could get on the Boeing bandwagon on a bull side going up. Whereas if I want to play stocks that I think are going lower or going down, shit, I mentioned Upstart last week. Remember, Upstart banked 30% one day, all the way up to like $22 or 21, like 8. No, it was 22, I think. And I said that stock will probably be in the $17 to $18 range. I'll go out till March. Well, I sold my puts on Upstart. Why? Because the stock hit 18 the other day, from $22 to $18 within like 2 or 3 trading days. I think it was 2 trading days. So yes, and I mentioned that one on YouTube as well. All right, so yeah, Zuckerberg's a clown. What do we got? Edgar, always appreciate it, my good man. Have a great day trading. Yeah, man, no doubt. Where are you at? Florida. I'm in Florida as well. Hey, Graham, thanks. You got it. Okay, so everybody, we're a little past 20 minutes. If you have specific questions on stocks, you just got to look at the side, ask, a thumbs up. Can we look at IWM? Oh, you got me right before I was going to go. Yeah, so let's pull up Discord again, and this is what I would do for IWM, which is the Russell. So I'm going to look at the net flow. IWM. I did it all in caps. Hopefully it works. TR. I'm going to look at the algo flow. IWM. I'm not sure it's going to work all in caps, so let's try it here. Let's look at the flow sum. IWM. I'm hoping one of these works. No. TR. Let's try net flow. IW. It should work. All right, so here we go. What am I seeing? Let's talk about what you guys should be seeing, okay? What am I seeing? Well, the cost for puts all of a sudden jumped up on Friday up here, okay? So your premium for puts is up here. Your premium for calls is the green line. It's down here. Volume has increased. And where is the price of the Russell? It's in white. It's up here. What's likely to happen is the cost for puts is likely to extend out here in the positive zone. Cost for calls probably going to stay here in the negative zone. And what's likely to happen is the price will likely come down somewhere under 0, between 0 and -1. So I'm going to say back closer to 192. So yeah, at open, I would be totally bearish on the Russell. If you want to look at the dark pool levels, just type in your dark pool search on Discord. That's where I'm heading now. Oh, best thing I forgot to mention, Romeo is going live at 9:15. If you like what I do, get into the live trading. That's in 23 minutes. Great. He goes on pre-market. He'll probably talk about Apple. He'll probably talk about the Qs. He'll probably talk about SPY. He'll talk about what he's looking for, what his entry would be, and then how much money he's making. Because always when he enters, he's always damn good because he follows the candles. He follows his orb theory. And he'll be like up 20, 40, 60% within like 5, 6, 7 minutes. And then he'll start scaling back. So please join Romeo on our SOC Discord. It's SOC- Discord. Let me just type that out for anybody that's not on our Discord already. SOC, here's how you find it. And nice and easy, and I'll put it on the thing. Here we go. Did that work? There you go. SOC-platform.com. So please join me. I'm heading over there. I will drop a video with specific trades that I'm looking for. I'm going to look at 2 specific stocks today, one an ETF and one a stock. I'll bring that up. I'll have that at 9 o'clock. That's what I'm going to focus on, as well as the SPY levels. Again, ghost zone from where we are right now, 404 to 399. Very little supply and demand. Obviously, that will pick up, but please be cautious on the bull side because, again, the market tends to buy the dips, and it's been doing that every day but 4 or 5 trading days this year. So as we're dipping down, understand the next level higher is going to be 406.44. If we break through that very small zone, 408.25, all the way up to 410. So your bull case scenarios, we're going to run up to 410. They're going to buy the dips. Your bear case scenarios, we're going to see support right at the 399 and change level. That's how I plan to trade today. I'll see you guys later. Thank you for joining me this morning. Please join me tomorrow.